Hello and welcome to another episode of Chuchu is a Ranker. And on this episode we are going to be continuing our Albums of the Year list, and this time it's 1971. And 1971 continues the decade's ascent into beast mode. So without further ado, let's be complete rankers and rank up a storm. These are my personal top 10 albums of 1971. So, we're going to be kicking off this list with Blue by the mistress of emotional folk, Joni Mitchell, which was her fourth LP. And here we have a sad and delicate folk record that strips its instrumentation back to mostly just piano and acoustic guitar, letting Joni's ear-catching lyrics occupy centre stage. And she puts together a great set here, full of love, small fragile moments that barely exist, and an ever-creeping sense of depression and loneliness. These songs are so basic in their composition that it's not easy to pick out highlights. But My Old Man and A Case of You are lovely piano ballads with beautifully tender and romantic lyrics. California has a delicate bounce to its flighty country-kissed acoustics, while River subverts the cue from Jingle Bells into an icy ride of self-doubting sadness. So yeah, this is a great emotionally salient folk LP with an alluringly dour mood and some hypnotic lyrics. It's simple, but highly effective. Next up we have Electric Warrior by the Mark Bolan fronted T.rex, which was the band's second LP, although technically sixth if you count the records that they made while still under the moniker Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this record represents the flashpoint of the glam movement, as T.rex took the youth of England and indeed the UK charts by storm, creating a long-lasting legacy. Highlights on an iconic piece of pop history include Cosmic Dancer, which impresses with its swirling string sections, famous melodies, and images of babies dancing out of people's wombs. Ugh, nasty. Jeepster has that typical updated rockabilly style that would become Bolan's bread and butter nicely on display. Get It On is a super catchy glam classic and one of the defining tunes of the movement. I wouldn't actually like to get it on and bang a gong though, too many serrated edges, you just shear your dick clean off. Give me a nice clarinet instead, at least they have a spit valve. While Closer, Rip Off is a really fun rocker with a lot of stomping energy and an immediately hooky chorus. So yeah, although I'll confess to not being massively into glam, this album has more than enough hit power and spangly tunes to make this list. Good stuff from T.rex here. Next up we have Muswell Hillbillies by the Kinks, which was the band's 10th LP and their first on the RCA label. And here we find the Kinks having a crack at making their version of an Americana album, which more or less means a whole bunch of jangle tunes with the occasional slide guitar addition, or in the case of Holloway Jail, a quick detour into good old Chang Gang blues. And the Kinks in Americana don't really seem to be the most obvious bedfellows, but the band really knocked this one out of the park and provide yet another flawless album with no weak tracks in sight. Highlights on an easy banger include the opening single, 20th Century Man, with its glammy country rock and swaggering gait. Acute Schizophrenia Paranoia Blues is a Kinks classic, its impressive rolling slide guitar riff bringing a suitably woozy atmosphere to the track. Alcohol has a staggering composition that feels as hazy and as unstable as the proverbial night out on the tiles. Have a Cup of Tea is an unbelievably catchy bit of knees-up music called vaudeville, while Closer, Muswell Hillbilly, is a fantastic stomping bit of jangle pop that ends the record with a catchy flourish. So yeah, the Kinks' work of the 70s rarely gets the kudos that it richly deserves, but the discography from that period is a cornucopia of treasures, and Muswell Hillbillies damn well deserves to be on this list.
But he messed up his life, went and beat up his wife. Now the flues is gone and found another sucker.
Coming in next we have Nilsson Schmilsson by Harry Nilsson, which was the American singer's 7th LP and his biggest commercial hit. And it's a wonderfully bright pop record that houses a clutch of simple yet unforgettable tunes that thrum with a joyous and emotionally engaging aura. Highlights on a short, sharp 35-minute slice of pop perfection includes the opening Gotta Get Up, which kicks things off with a rousing, super catchy chorus. The Moonbeam song is a great acoustic ballad with a star-spackled wreath of tidal backing vocals. Coconut is a really fun and nutty bit of calypso with an extremely hooky earworm of a chorus. Let the Good Times Roll has an instantly effusive melody that does exactly what it says on the tin, while Without You is an insanely epic and iconic weeping ballad with an unforgettable sing-along quality to it. My favourite off of this though is Jump Into the Fire, with its layered squalling rock, rumbling bass and frantic drum performance. It's a badass addition to the record and adds a cool bit of variety too. So yeah, on a previous episode of Chuchu Reviews, I rated this record at 4.5 stars. But after coming back to it and hearing it within the context of everything else from 1971, I'm going to bump that score up to a full 5-star rating. This album is awesome. Next up we have Who's Next, which was the 5th LP by The Who. And after the epic jangle concept album that was Tommy, the band took a leaf out of Led Zeppelin's book and turned towards arena-filling stadium rock. And yeah, this is simply one of the most iconic, classic and best records ever made of that particular genre. Highlights on a pretty flawless 5-star record includes Baba O'Reilly, which throws strident windmill baiting chords at you like they're going out of fashion. The Irish flavoured outro is also really cool. Love Ain't For Keeping is a beautiful country-seared ballad that sounds like peak Creedence Clearwater Revival. The Song Is Over has a beautiful melody to its light as aloft balladry. Closer, Won't Get Fooled Again is a great fist-pumping finale with an unabashedly epic thrust. While Getting In Tune is a track that I just absolutely love, that killer hook of when Roger Daltrey sings, "And I'm gonna tune riding on you." Chef's kiss. It's just so damn catchy and makes me want to sing along every single time I hear it. So yeah, this is an exceptional stadium rock LP. It's an iconic all-time classic and a no-brainer of an inclusion on this list. So, we're going to be kicking off the top 5 with Surf's Up by the Beach Boys. And yeah, what the hell happened to the Beach Boys? In '66 they had an all-time classic with Pet Sounds, and then poof! They imploded quicker than Brian Wilson could stick his pretentious head up his own fucking arse. Smiley Smile was a horrendous semi-abortion of an album. Wild Honey wasn't much better, and the best thing that I can say about Sunflower was at least that it was trending in a better direction than those other two. So it might have seemed that all was lost for the Beach Boys. Except then they came back with this absolute fucking masterpiece of an album out of nowhere. And here the band turned to social issues such as environmental damage and student protests for inspiration, layering their soundscapes with just abject despair and sadness. This is a wholly miserable record with a thick melancholic atmosphere, and it's just absolutely wonderful with every track finding its mark. High spots on a definitive return to form include the opener, Don't Go Near the Water, with its hazy vibes and operatic finale. Long Promised Road is a nice bit of gently bopping pop with a catchy appeal and some subtle background instrumentation. Take a Load Off Your Feet has a wonderfully twee Kingsian element to it that's utterly delightful. Student Demonstration Time has a buzzing energy and a cool chanting avant-garde rockabilly stomp to it, while the likes of A Day in the Life of a Tree and Till I Die are awash in beautiful church organs and resigned sadness. So yeah, this is that other classic Beach Boys record. It's absolutely fantastic and an essential companion piece to Pet Sounds. Next up we have Hunky Dory by David Bowie, which was his 4th LP. And here we have Bowie's first great album, and also the first where he teamed up with the guitar legend Mick Ronson. But Bowie actually composed the majority of this record on the piano, and that really comes through in the soundscapes, as the LP has a clean and spacious feel to it with plenty of twinkling keys. One of the defining factors of Hunky Dory is just how unique and different it sounds when compared to everything else around at the time. David Bowie was in an army of one, trailblazing a singularly idiosyncratic style. Highlights on a fantastic LP includes the opener, Changes, which kicks things off with a lounge crooner ballad that suddenly opens up with a giant clammy chorus. All You Pretty Things ably demonstrates Bowie's skill around a hook and his ability to lyrically connect with his audience. Kooks is a fun rolling piano track with a bouncing, joyous quality to it. Queen Bitch is amazing with its awesome stuttering guitar riff and rocking thump, while Life on Mars is a straight fire banger featuring a beautiful classical piano line that gives way to a skyscraping iconic chorus. Mwah! Chef's kiss, that song is just all kinds of wonderful. So yeah, this is a fantastic LP that helps send Bowie off to the races and is essential listening for 1971. Coming in third place and taking home the bronze medal, we have Led Zeppelin 4, which was Led Zeppelin's, fuck it, you figure it out, you got a brain. But if you're there thinking that this is the band's debut album, I'm going to come to your house and kill you. Literally, I'm going to kill you. And here we find Led Zeppelin taking the more spacious rock of their previous album, Led Zeppelin 3, and adding in some more pastoral elements, widening their sound palette even further. And it's right here that Led Zeppelin properly click for me and deliver a real masterpiece banger. Every track on this is great, and the record has a perfect balance of epic rock and more delicate and subtly complex moments. Highlights include The Battle of Evermore, which has a cool mandolin-led composition that gives the track a distinctive tone. It also has an impressively urgent vocal performance from Robert Plant. Black Dog and Rock and Roll, meanwhile, are playgrounds for Jimmy Page's grinding riffage and hard rock swagger. Stairway to Heaven is a fantastic epic with a beautiful pastoral build-up and an awesome rock out at the climax. It may be an iconic, overhyped classic, but it's a lot more subtle than its reputation allows. Going Back to California is a lovely stripped-back country folk tune with a nice lilting melody, while Closer, When the Levee Breaks, is an utterly badass swamp rock tune that belches cool grooves and tasty guitar licks like a pulsing quasar. So yeah, this is Led Zeppelin at their absolute zenith. It's an unmissable slice of hard rock bliss. Wonderful stuff.
And she's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure. 'Cause you know sometimes words have two meanings.
Silver medal time, and the silver medal is going to go to Nursery Crime by Genesis, which was the band's third LP and the one where the band's full classic lineup came together, with guitarist Steve Hackett and drummer Phil Collins joining the band, thus kicking off their legendary golden period. And as the opening salvo of a truly spectacular run of masterpieces, Nursery Crime absolutely kicks ass. Despite its obvious complexity, there's a real sense of youth here, and the desire just to rock out is palpable. Highlights on a 7-track, 39-minute corker of an album includes absolutely everything. For Absent Friends has a beautiful melody and a fragile delicacy to it. Return of the Giant Hogweed is a fun epic with lyrics that recall Day of the Triffids. It's a wonderfully layered and complex track with a great dramatic energy to it. Seven Stones is a gorgeous bit of pastoral rock that shows off the band's talent for wonderfully bucolic keyboard and flute riffs. Closer, The Fountain of Salmisis, is a sweeping fantasy epic with a cool swelling atmosphere and some brilliant instrumental breaks. While The Musical Box is an immediately stunning 10-minute prog rock masterclass with an amazing thunderous liftoff that's just one of the most thrilling moments in all of rock. Mwah! Chef's kiss, it's just pure unadulterated badassery, a proper roller coaster of a song. So yeah, this is a flawless prog rock masterpiece stuffed with unforgettable bangers. So here we are at the top of the mountain, and the gold medal for 1971 is going to go to Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones, which was the band's 11th LP. It was also the start of guitarist Mick Taylor's tenure with the band, as Brian Jones had been dismissed and subsequently died 2 years earlier. And yeah, on a previous list I casually noted that I don't really like the Rolling Stones as much as most people. And whilst that is generally true, slap my ass and call me Sally, because this album fucking rules. So much so in fact that it's easily one of the best blues rock albums I've ever heard in my life. It's got a pinpoint mix of great rocking catchy tunes and more emotionally astute balladry. The sequencing is absolutely perfect. The record knows exactly when to breathe and when to hit the accelerator. The lyrics also hit the mark across the board, with certain tracks such as Wild Horses, Sister Morphine and Dead Flowers hitting new lyrical peaks for the band. Highlights in an album entirely comprised of them includes the opener, Brown Sugar, which kicks things into gear immediately with some rocking blues and Keith Richards' distinctive rhythm guitar. Wild Horses is a soulful lounge ballad with a blooming chorus. Can't Hear Me Knocking is a catchy, rhythmically stifled song with a memorable jazz-inflected breakaway. Bitch is a slice of horn-soaked rockin' blues that keeps up the pace and energy of the record, while I Got the Blues brings a bit of tonal variety to the LP, with its beautiful waltz-time 1950s balladeering and rampant organ solo. But the hits, they just keep on coming. Sister Morphine is spectacular with its cool building blues shuffle housing some captivating lyrics about vices getting on top of you, while Dead Flowers is brilliant with its super catchy sing-along stomp and dark-hued overtones. So yeah, this is like a chest-beating version of the Rolling Stones with a don't fuck with me look in their eyes. This LP is all hunger and passion, and it's absolutely awesome, and my pick for the best album of 1971. And that's it, that's my list, but of course that won't be your list, so please sound off in the comments section and tell me your own top 10 records of 1971. Like, share, subscribe and all that other kind of YouTube jazz. Feel free to check out this episode's Spotify playlist, link in the description below. Make sure to take care of yourself, but most importantly, just keep on ranking.